Hey, check it. We have $59,531.38 of consumer debt, and this is how we're going to pay it off. What's up, good people? I'm Zay, and this is First Generational Wealth Building, where we break generational curses and build wealth. And guys, I'm excited. I'm kicking off my debt-free journey video series. As you can see from the title, we have over $59,000 in consumer debt left, and we're going to bring y'all inside to show you how we're paying it off. So in this video, I'm going to give you guys a complete walkthrough of our budget. I'm going to tell you what our debt consists of. I'll tell you what our May spending priorities are, and ultimately how we plan to divvy up our surplus income at the end of the month. Now, before we jump into our numbers, I need you guys to do me a favor. Comment yes or no below if you've already completed your May budget. Without further ado, let's get into this video. All right, guys, so I am going to start with what our debt consists of. Now, guys, I did do a video on how we paid off $32,000 in 14 months. And so we started with a lot more debt than where we currently are. So what you're seeing is as of January 2020. I do want to make that clear. Additionally, I want to say that in the $59,531, our mortgage is not included. So we do follow the Dave Ramsey principle where our debt-free journey is focused on mainly consumer debt. We do not include our mortgage. When we say we'll be debt-free, we know we'll still have some liabilities, but to us, you know, our mortgage is something different. So when we talk about being debt-free, we're mainly talking about consumer debt freedom. Now, with that being said, you can clearly see what our debt breakdown is. In the beginning of 2020, you know, this is what we started with, and then this is where we currently are. And so our debt right now consists of one credit card, which is Capital One, and we got that down to $5,000. I have some Parent Plus loans. I know some of y'all probably know about that. That's currently at $6,750, and then my Fed loans are at $35,050. Now, the good thing about my student loans that I've been loving lately is that all my payments go straight to principal. So I'm really about to start making a good dent into those student loans, but one of our plans is to kind of pay off the Capital One credit card first, but might have to switch that up. We'll see. Then, and last, we have my car, which I owe about $12,700 on, and I am underwater on that because I don't think if I were to sell my car or trade it in, I would get that much value or what I owe. And so, yeah, that's what our debt consists of. This thing right up here, typically what I do is I will keep track of what our last month numbers are. So then as this is going down, I can see, okay, this is what we paid off last month. So this is as of April. So in April, we paid $4,900 towards debt, which is freaking amazing. And as you can see, for the year, we are actually down $9,543.62. And that gives us our number of $59,000. And so that's what our debt consists of, guys. So now let's get into the budget. All right, guys. So now what I'm going to do is walk you through how we budget. So this is my budget template. I do want to say that I customized this, so it may look a little bit different than what you're used to. I am a big proponent of customizing your own budget because everybody's budget is unique. So how we budget. First, I start with our income. And because we have joint accounts, we put all our income into one account. So we list what our pay dates are, and we also like to pay our bills in, half in the beginning of the month and half in the middle of the month. So as you can see, these two checks will go towards paying our bills that are in the beginning of the month, and these two checks go to paying our bills at the end of the month. As you can see, we have an April carryover. This is basically our cushion that we have in our checking account. We like to keep a cushion in there so that in case any expenses, miscellaneous expenses come up or anything like that, we can kind of take care of that without having to necessarily dip into our emergency fund. And then the last row you see here is for additional income. So this is for any bonus checks. If we sell any of items in our house to make any cash, any side hustles that we start that bring in cash. So we put all of that here. Now, I want to say this 100% is only comprised of just our 4 checks in our April carryover. We do not include our additional income in our projected because if it's extra, we use that towards other find other goals that we have and that we're pursuing, and so we don't really include that. So that's how we start. We always start with, okay, what is our projected monthly income? Next, you see, we start with our household expenses. That is the first set of expenses that we account for. Now, what's included in our household expenses? We include our mortgage, our cell phone bill. So you can see mine is right here, my wife's is right there. We have a water bill, gas bill, of course, cable and internet, and then we have Dominion Power. So these are all things that are essential to keep our household going. And so we make sure we take care of those before we do anything else. As you can see, those expenses only equate to about 27.39% of our net income. Now, for reference, when it comes to household expenses, if you use a rule such as the 50-30-20 budget rule, you want to keep those expenses to at least 50%. So the fact that we're able to manage it and keep it at a level of 27%, that's really good. And that brings me down to our next category of expenses that we budget for, which are our insurance expenses. So we consider life insurance, automobile insurance, home insurance or warranties, all insurance expenses. As you can see, we have well, my wife has a couple of policies, so do I. So let me just clear that up. So in total, my wife and I, we have each $1 million of life insurance over each other. So we carry approximately $250 in whole life for each of each other. And then we have $750 in term. So that equals the $1 million. Now, disclaimer, my wife does work for an insurance company. So we get really good prices on our life insurance. And so, that's one of the things that does help us out. But as we go through these expenses, as you can see, it just consists of the different life insurance policies. Mine is all grouped into one. We have my car insurance, my wife's car insurance, our home warranty. Now, this is a temporary disability policy that I got when I was probably like 22. I actually need to cancel it, but since it's only like $10, I just never went ahead and canceled it. But as you can see, our insurance expenses only equate to about 5.74% of our net income. Once again, that's really, really good. We're keeping that pretty low. So that brings me down to the next set of expenses that we like to take care of, and that's going to be our subscriptions and memberships. Now, as you can see from our subscriptions and memberships, we don't carry a lot of these. You don't see Netflix, you don't see Hulu, you don't see Apple TV or anything like that, because we use our family members' accounts, to be honest, and so that really helps us out. Now, the subscriptions or memberships we do pay for, does include our Spotify account. We have a joint account there. We have Acuity, which is a scheduling app, so that way if I want to schedule any appointments with potential clients or anything like that, they can do that through this app. We do run a meetup group in our local area, so that does come with a monthly fee. As well as I have a LinkedIn Pro account, and I would highly recommend that to any business professional. The perks you get with a LinkedIn Pro account are just amazing, from the classes that you can take to just the networking opportunities. Then off-chain is just a newsletter subscription that I have. We have our gym membership, Gold's Gym. We are on a trial membership, so we're getting that at a little cheaper price. And then lastly, we have ConvertKit, which is our emailing subscription application where we collect our members' emails and stuff like that for us to do email blasts. And as you can see, our subscriptions and memberships only equate to 1.52% of our net income. So again, keeping that really low is the goal. Then one of the last things that we start to account for is what we call our variable expenses. So groceries, transportation, miscellaneous. The reason these are variable is because groceries, that bill it's not going to always be $500 every month. Depending on how we shop, it can range. Same thing with gas, supplements, and miscellaneous spending. So as you can see, we budget for groceries, gas for my wife. Now, I do use the VRE, which is like our local metro / commuter train system. So I have that money being taken out pre-tax, so we don't need to account for that. Then we have our supplements. We're really big into working out, so we try to budget some money for that. We don't always use that every month, but just good to have. Then we have our discretion money. As I mentioned earlier, we do have joint accounts, so we came to an agreement as far as what is going to be our discretionary money that we get to just spend on whatever. And so we both agreed on a number that fits us both, and so we budget for that. And then we have our miscellaneous May spending priorities, and we'll get to those in just a second, but we like to budget for our monthly spending priorities as well. And we do this by just planning ahead, looking at what are the things we have coming up for the month that we need to plan for. Now, as you can see, for variable expenses, that is about 19.35% of our net income, which again is really, really good. We're keeping that really low, and that's what we strive for. And I would also say, being locked down has really helped because our gas is extremely low. We really haven't been eating a lot of groceries, so those costs have significantly kind of come down during this time. And then the last thing that we account for is just our liability expenses. So car loan, credit cards, student loans. We want to make sure that we are at least making the monthly minimum payments. And as we talked about earlier, Capital One, my student loans, and my car, that comes to about 10.43% of our net income. And so in total, you can see that all our expenses for the month on a projected basis is about 64.43% of our net income. Now that's huge, guys. Again, that is allowing us or leaving us with about 35.57% of our net income to divvy it up into our financial goals, whether it's going to be to bump up our emergency fund or to invest or to pay off debt. When you hear people talk about the FIRE movement, there are people in that community who say 50-60% of their income. So that's a pretty high number. And so for us to be at 35%, including debt payments, as far as what we can save after, I think that's pretty good. Once we, recoup this 10%, now we'll be close to saving or being able to save 50% of our income. And that's definitely going to help us on our FI journey. Now, without further ado, guys, what we're going to do next is just get into what some of our May spending priorities are. And we'll get into that in just a second. All right, guys. So now what we're going to do is we are going to get into what our May spending priorities are. Now, what I like to do when it comes to spending priorities is I sit down with my wife and we talk about, okay, for the month coming up, what are any holidays, any birthdays, any priorities that we need to take care of, whether it's for the house or anything like that. And so at the beginning of the month, we always sit down and we say, okay, what are things that we want to take care of that we need to account for? So for example, for May, I'm going to type these in right now as we do this. So for May, one of the biggest things, or one of the first things that came up was, of course, is Mother's Day. Got to make sure that we include Mother's Day. Now we'll get gifts for both our moms. And so this is definitely something that we want to budget for and account for. The other thing that we said was a spending priority for us in May is that we recently moved into our house back in November, so we're still been getting acclimated and moving stuff in. And there's a bar that we have that we want to put downstairs, and so we actually need a moving crew to come help us move it because that thing is heavy. And so we need to actually hire a moving crew, and so that's going to be something that hire a moving crew. That's going to be something that we are budgeting for in May. And then the last thing that we said was a priority for us is that we're actually in the process of revamping our website that we started last year. And so we're looking for a content writer to help us, write some new content for our website, spruce it up a little bit and really just highlight what we do and who we are. And so we're going to be looking to hire a content writer. So those are all the things that we have accounted for. Now that it has already been put into our projected, but I just wanted to walk you guys through how we talk about our priorities and what that looks like. And so for us, those are the main three things that we're going to be looking to do in the month of May. And I just want to say, guys, when it comes to you all budgeting, please take your time, sit down the month before and really think about, those priorities that are upcoming and try to include those in your budget so you don't get hit with any unexpected expenses and then you have to dip into your emergency fund. So I really think that planning a month ahead is really, really key. And so now what we're going to do, guys, is we are going to transition into what we plan to do with this 35% of our surplus income. All right, guys. So as I said, the last thing we wanted to get to was how do we plan to divvy up the 35% that we have left over. Let me go in here and change these percentages. Back it up. There we go. So our plan this month is to break it down really simple. As you can see from the screen here, our plan is to put close to 25% into our emergency fund, and we'll probably make this even number, so it's just how the percentage works out, but we'll probably put an even number into our emergency fund, which will be about 25%. We're going to put at least 50% towards debt, and then we plan to put another 25% towards investing. And so at the end of the month, with this extra 35%, our projected breakdown is to split this into three. So for example, if this was $1,000 left over, we will be putting $250 into emergency fund, $500 towards debt, and then $250 towards investing. And that is how we break our money down at the end of the month. That is how we attack our debt, and that's how we've been able to be successful. Now, I will put out there, these percentages are always not the same every month. For example, last month in March, when the market was down, it probably was reversed. We did a lot of investing and we didn't go as heavy towards debt or towards our emergency fund. We put a lot of money into investing because we thought the market was at good prices. And so with our surplus income, we thought it'd be a good time to take advantage of the market. And so that is our plan to attack our debt this month. And as I said, I will be updating you guys every month on what our plan is, so you can see how these percentages change month to month and what that looks like as far as our debt levels go. And that's the update on our debt-free journey, guys. So my plan is to do another video towards the end of May, updating you guys if we were able to hit our goals of the 25, 50, 25, also how much we were able to pay down in the month of May and what our new number is. We are expecting to be debt-free by 2021. So we are excited to bring you guys along with this journey, having you cheer us on. So if you like this video and want to see more, you know what to do. Press that like button as well as subscribe to my channel. And until next video, stay blessed and peace out.